Hello everyone, and welcome to the errors and exceptions handling exercise. We look at the following question. Let's see the instruction. So we have a list containing a list of numbers. So it says prompt a user to enter an index, and if the index is in the range of our list, display the number in list 1 at the specified index. We have a list here, and then we'll ask a user to enter any index in this range. So if the user enters 0, we'll display this number 23. If the user enters index 7, we'll display the appropriate number in the list. So here it says, use a combination of while and if statements to make it challenging. Okay. And in the prompt message, display the option to enter quit if they want to quit and break out of the while loop. So when we prompt the message, we'll also ask the users to enter quit if they want to exit out of the program. And then use try and except statements to handle errors or exceptions. For instance, if the user enters an out of range index, which is also known as index error, or if they enter characters different from numbers. So here we have, I think, 10 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have index 0 to 9. And if the user enters, let's say, index 10 or 11, that's out of range. So we'll handle that index error using an except statement. And if they enter some other characters different from numbers, for instance, if they type the character X or U, we'll handle that by using an except statement. Okay, take a moment and try this exercise. Great. Now that you have tried the exercise, let's see my solution together. I'll copy the list. Command C. Let me copy it here and paste it. Okay, we have our list. Let's start with our while statement. So we can say while true. Then let's prompt the user to enter an index. I'm using Python 2, so I'm using the function raw input. If you are using Python 3, use the function input. So raw input, and then we can say choose your index now. Then we also need to display that they can type quit to quit the program. So we can add type quit to quit, or some message. Choose your index now, raw input. And let's save this input in a variable called choice. And what we'll do next is we'll check to see if they type quit so that we can exit out of the program. So we can say if choice double equal to quit. We are using double equal because we are comparing to see if choice is quit. So in this case, we'll break out of the while loop. Okay, the next thing we will do is they will enter a choice here. Right now, the choice is in string format, right? It's a string. And what we'll do next is convert that string into an integer. So we'll convert their choice into an integer, and then we'll find out the element at the chosen index. Then we'll print that element. If they give us some other index outside of our range, we'll handle those using exceptions. Let's do that. So once we have that, we can say, so let's include all of what I said in our try statement. We can say try, and then we'll cast our choice into an integer, and I'll save this in a variable called index. I'm just converting their choice into an integer. And now that we have that, we can simply print the element. So list 1, which is my list, at the index chosen. List 1 at their choice of index. Okay. Now let's handle some exceptions. So if you don't know any exception name, you can simply say exception and then put your exceptions. I know one kind of exception, which is index error. So I'll include that name, and then in case of an index error, we can print, let's say, wrong index. We can also display the index the user chooses, and then for any other exceptions, we can simply print, let's say, something else is wrong with your choice or something, and then display their choice. We can display that. So if they choose something else, let's say some other characters like U or X or V, we'll display this print statement, something else is wrong, and then their choice. In case of out of range index, we'll display the wrong index message. Okay, looks good. Let's run our program now. It says choose U index. Okay, choose your index now. Type quit to quit. Let's choose an index. Let's choose, let's say, 2. Enter. So 56 is displayed, which is correct. Index 0, 1, and 2. Let's choose another index. Let's say 7. 99 is displayed. Yep. Now let's choose an index out of range index. Let's choose 11, for instance. So wrong index, which is good. It's out of range index. And let's choose something else. Let's say U. Something else is wrong, which is the correct exception. And the last thing we haven't tried is quit. So let's try to quit. Great. Now we are out of our program. Okay. To make this look nicer, what we can do is we can introduce some line breaks between each of our response. So what we can do is, so if their choice is quit, I can print out some blank line like that. Let's say times 15. And I can do the same thing here. After the element is printed, we can print out some blank lines, some lines, so we see that a line, so that there will be some line breaks in between. Okay, we have our index error here. Let's add a line times 15 and one more line here. Print times 15. Okay, let's see how it looks now. Okay. Run it again. It says choose your index 3. Okay, a nice line break. Choose your index now. Let's choose 8. Okay, 222. 222, great. We can also choose, we can also do negative indexing. So if we do -1, the last element will be printed. So the last element is 123. Let's choose another index. Let's say -5, 89. Choose your index. If we choose an out of range index, let's say -11, we get a wrong index exception, index error exception, which is good. Similarly, if we choose some other characters, we'll get an exception message, something else is wrong, which is this. So for any other exception, we get that message, something else is wrong, and the character we entered. Now we can quit by typing quit, and we are out of our while loop. So the line break is just to make it look nicer and neater. Great. Thank you everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.